You are inside a dark cave. You feel coldness, but behind you, you feel a warm light as you exit the cave. You enter the wilderness. You tiptoe onto the scorched earth of the desert. You notice a cart, and then you walk further and you discover the true oasis. It is here with us. Me and him and us together complete your journey. That was a cool intro. I think that was that was a dope intro. You know, a little bit of adventure, a little bit of ASMR for all you ASMR heads out there. Anyway, welcome to Creepy Old Crypt, episode what, 3? 3. Not hard to count that, so I don't know why I struggled. But this is our Frontierland episode. Welcome. How are you?
Doing good.
Today?
I'm liking all the screams.
Yeah. I think we found a good place to record this.
Yeah.
Because we're right on the new trail, the Frontierland trail.
Yeah, that's gonna be the entrance to Star Wars Land.
Yeah, that is right there.
It's all closed off. Yep.
In there. Now that tunnel, that's one oh you could see Big Thunder going over the ridge there. But you can hear stuff. That tunnel is an old one, right? Like,
yeah, I think
isn't that left over?
Yeah, I think that's left over. That's always been there.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I think that is from
that could have been left over from that. I thought you were talking about left over from when they renovated this. I'm not sure if that's left over from
the Nature Trail?
Nature's Wonderland. Yeah.
I always, for some reason, my brain can't do the name of that ride. The Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland?
Yep.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. I can't remember if that tunnel is left from that or not.
I don't know either.
I always get turned around in places. But there is a lot of stuff left over from that around here. Mm. I mean...
Because this looks good. It's Frontierland, so why rip it out if it just looks nice?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my favorite detail that they've left... So, anyway, we're talking Frontierland today. Frontierland might be my favorite land.
I like it too.
Yeah. What is yours, would you say?
I think Frontierland's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. For some reason...
It's just, I've always liked the Wild West. I've always...
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. I like country. I like like nice areas like this.
Yeah, like old-timey stuff. I'm a fan of. I like Tomorrowland for I like 60s like futurism, but there isn't a lot of that right
I
now.
thought you were going to say New Orleans Square.
Yeah.
I thought that was your favorite.
That it is. I guess I count that as part of Frontierland, but I guess we shouldn't because we're not going to talk about that today at all. But we're going to talk about Frontierland exclusively. New Orleans Square, that'll be a different episode, but Frontierland used to have a lot of cool stuff in it. There was a lot of kind of archaic stuff in the beginning, before I was born, obviously. I think either of us were born.
Nope.
There was like a mule ride that you could like ride pack mules around the hills.
Yeah.
There was as we mentioned, the train through Nature's Wonderland.
Yeah.
That is my most that's the one ride I wish I could have gone on. That was long gone before
it was
I
gone
was
in the 70s.
Yeah.
So
there's no way I could have ever gone on that. But it's just that would have been really cool. It had you would go through all these things out in the wilderness. So it was it was really kind of simplistic animatronics, so it was like
bobcats and
bears that would barely move and scratching their back against a tree. It's really funny because there's audio from if you listen to the audio on any of the Disney soundtracks, they have the ride-through audio of that old ride, and it's really funny. I've said this before, but it's always funny seeing the types of jokes that would not fly today.
Yeah.
There's multiple on that ride. There's the guy narrating it is like, oh, there's those waterfalls over there, the 2 waterfalls, we called them the twin sisters. Guess that's because they never stop babbling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. And there's another one too about 2 bucks fighting over a female deer or whatever, and he's like, I don't remember what it was, but it was...
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
They had to take those bucks out. They used to be above I think the entrance that's still here.
Oh, yeah, really?
That or something like that. They had to take them out because they were freaking the donkeys out.
Oh, yeah!
They were it was something Tony Baxter was talking about. And
Yeah.
They like seeing that happening and the fighting and everything. It was freaking the donkeys out.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I heard that. I think this is true. That the Disneyland ride with the most lawsuits attached to it was the mule ride, because it was straight.
Yeah, it was not safe.
They were they're animals, so they would fling people off, and people were like jacking their backs up and stuff like that. So I think that's the one with the most lawsuits. Wasn't there another one? I'm trying to think of what was the second one. There was another one up there that there were a lot of lawsuits over, but I can't remember now.
Yeah.
People mover or rocket rods or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Again, this podcast is conversational. It's not encyclopedia-ish. Anyway, but yeah. So yeah, that was the one ride that I wish I could have gone on. That was the one that like it kills me. My other favorite extinct attraction that I talked about before was Adventures Through Inner Space, but I went on that when I was like 3.
Yeah.
So like that, I still did go on that, but this one, it just kills me.
Yeah.
But because the best part of it was at the end. So you'd go through nature. There were like cactuses. There were like boulders that looked like they were going to fall on you.
Kind of goofy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end.
Yeah, at the end you would go through Rainbow Caverns, which had this like weird kind of operatic music with like a theremin going, and it was all these like rainbow colored waterfalls. It was like, I think they did it with paint, like they mixed paint.
It was
in or
blacklight
something.
paint, right?
Is that what it was? Yeah, I think so.
It was like lit with blacklight, but the paint reacted to it, and it would be like bubbling and like falling like a waterfall and
phosphorescent or whatever the word is. Yeah, and you'd go through, and it was these steaming giant waterfalls. And to this date, there's still not quite anything else in Disneyland that replicates that.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of did a little bit of an homage to it in in Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, Big
right
Thunder has it, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
it's colorful and rainbowy, but it's not the same.
It has some colorful rainbows at the beginning as kind of a nod to it, but it's not. Yeah, exactly, it's not the same. And they kind of have something like it at Knott's in the Calico Mine Train, right? Doesn't they have something like that?
Yeah, they actually stop you and play this music and light-y thing and everything, and it's very reminiscent of that theremin part. And
yeah, well, that's the heaven room there, but I'm even talking about before that. There's those bubbling pots.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
I forgot.
I think they call them the Devil's Paint Pots or something. But they, all these like steaming like geysers at the beginning. It's close to that too. So actually, there's more than one thing that's kind of like that there. I never thought about that. But anyway, so yeah, you got to find the music. Some of the best music ever done. By Disney.
They've released it on their album.
Yeah. Was that Rainbow Caverns theme, and we used it in a Mega 64 Game Days promo. It was that good. But anyway, so yeah, I love that stuff. Anyway, so that's the one ride I wish they would. It looks like now they're. You can see the train.
Yeah, that's not running yet. They're just testing it out.
Yeah, they're testing it out right there.
There's people on it though.
Yo.
Yeah, there's lots of people on there.
Yeah. They're testing out the train. I think they're making sure it runs and all that stuff.
Could be soft opening.
Yeah, that would be tight to ride on the train. Yeah. We're going to try to do that. It's going to open like any day now. Maybe even by the time you're watching this. I don't know. But, man, that would be cool. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people have seen. Now, we'll know probably, again, by this point that it looks like they're replicating a lot of that old nature trail stuff.
In the train stuff, yeah.
In the new train.
They actually, on all the signage and everything, it says access to Nature's Wonderland via the Disneyland Railroad.
Yeah, so that kind of makes me think they're going to do something. Yeah. But it looks like they built the boulders and everything that used to look like they were going to fall down.
Yep.
So
we'll
maybe, about a week from now. So anyway, sorry, like the worst camera angle. So, and so is this because you can see a wall. But anyway, so we'll see if that happens when it opens. I'm very curious about that. The train is one of my favorite things, and I hate that it's been closed the whole time. But I thought, it would be kind of cool to talk about some of the smaller things in Frontierland. That was a big thing that's gone. Yeah. And what took its place? Basically Big Thunder.
Big Thunder took all the space of Nature's Wonderland.
And what's your take on Big Thunder?
I love Big Thunder. It's probably my favorite roller coaster here. I like it better than the Space Mountain.
Oh, you do?
Because it's all about the theming.
Yeah.
And I think this has better theming than Space Mountain.
Really? I know a lot of people who love Space Mountain.
So I love Space Mountain too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just a bunch of stars projected all over the place.
Yeah,
in darkness, which looks awesome.
Yeah.
This is actually like rock work and explosions and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite roller coaster, I think, here.
They renovated it pretty recently, right?
It was closed for over a year. Which, this is why when Star Wars Land is like, oh, it's going to be closed for a year, like when they close all this stuff, I was like, that's going to fly by, because this was closed for over a year and it kept getting pushed. Because they were ripping out all the track and putting in new track, new trains, new everything. And it feels like that was like no time at all ago. Like,
yeah, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
Man, I remember back in the early 2000s, they closed Space Mountain for like 3 years or something like that, and they were like, yeah, it's not going to open until 2005. And I was like, 2005? Am I even going to be alive then? You know, like, come on. But and then, you know, it came. You know.
And they opened up, and this was the smoothest roller coaster I'd ever ridden on when they reopened it.
Yeah. What all did they do to the renovation?
They just they did all the track, like I said, and then there's a main finale to the whole ride that you go up to the thing, and it's basically the rocks are falling on you.
Yeah.
They updated that with projection and an actual explosion that shoots fog all over the car. Yeah. And it's really, really, really cool. Yeah. They did a great job. They did an awesome job at it. It's well worth the wait. This is all like
this was a creation of Tony Baxter, who is a great Imagineer. And
that was his first, right?
Yeah, I think that was his first big thing on his own, I think. And he went on to make the Indiana Jones ride, which is another one of the best
my favorite,
ever.
Yeah.
Would you say that's your favorite?
That's my favorite ride.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. Tony Baxter last year at Comic-Con walked by our Comic-Con booth, and it was awesome. I was like, hey, Tony, whatever you want at our booth is free. And he was really nice, and he looked at all the shirts, and he pointed out all the little Disney things we ripped off. He picked up a version 3 DVD, and he was like, oh, monorail poster much? And I was like, no, it's all original. But anyway, yeah. So he walked by our booth again this year and charged by. Yeah. I was like, do you want a shirt? Nope. Okay, bye. See ya. Anyway, he's a good guy, though. I like that guy. Anyway, Big Thunder is a classic. But I was going to say, so they built all that. I don't go on it as much. I've been on it a couple times because I'm not really a coaster guy. But it was like early 2000s. I had to. I was like, you know what? I got to just barge it and see if I can ride it, see if I get sick, whatever. And I did. But the first time I went on it, I've never been on the ride before, and everyone has hyped it up to me, and I'm a little bit scared. Okay, we'll see. It's not like it's the roughest coaster by any stretch of the imagination.
It's smoother now.
Yeah, totally. But I'm just a wuss with that stuff. I just don't handle it very well. So, I'm kind of like buckling down. All right, and it goes up the hill. Roller coaster goes up the hill, and and the lights come up, and they go, all right, we're going to evacuate everybody. So the first time I've ever been on Big Thunder, I got to walk through and see everything behind the scenes.
Was it the first one with the goat at the end, or was it the one in the cavern?
I was in the cavern.
That was that's further in the ride. Yeah. That's a good one to get stopped at.
It was really cool. It was like, hey, from the first ride, it was pretty cool. But they were like, I guess it like derailed or something. I was like, damn, okay, well, we walked off. So they gave us tickets to come back if it ever opened up again. Yeah. Sure enough, at the end of the day, it was like, all right, it's open again. Okay, cool. So we went on it. I went on it, and I got sick. It was, whatever. It wasn't the worst thing ever, but whatever. So went on that, and then only days later, it was on the news that it derailed and someone died.
Yep.
That was insane. So the timing of that, I could have been, if I had gone a few days later, that could have been me. So I always think about that. That was one of the craziest, like thank God I didn't go like 2 or 3 days later.
Exactly.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe that would be like a cool way for me to go out. Like, hey, Rocco, he vanished into the mountain. That's tragic. I'm going to probably cut that part out, but really shouldn't frame it that way. It was really horrible what happened. Anyway, but you've survived. You've been on it many times.
Yeah, I go on it. I try to go on it as many times as possible. Sometimes the line's pretty long.
Yeah.
But It's one of my favorite rides here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that. Big
Yeah.
Thunder. Did you now? They have a Big Thunder in Paris.
Yeah.
Did you go on that one?
It's better.
I heard that one was insane.
Yeah. But all their mountain rides are better.
Really?
Yep. Space Mountain was better. Thunder Mountain was better.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's surprising. Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about that. I think a Paris special might be in order.
I smell that coming.
So we'll maybe talk about that later. But anyway, Big Thunder, it's a favorite of a lot of people. Now, what about some of the smaller kind of things in Frontierland? You know, one of my favorite things that's here that I'm surprised is still here is the shooting gallery.
I love the shooting gallery.
Yeah. Did you do that a lot when you were a kid?
Yeah. I'd always want to do it. And now I still will, if I have like extra change on me, I'll do it. And I love it. Because it's exactly the same. It has a couple more updates since I was a kid, but it's still got the same shovel come out of the grave.
Yeah.
And everything. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. That was my favorite thing as a kid, to do that. And I always thought that was going to be the first thing to go. I always thought kids shooting guns, there's no way they're going to keep that.
Yeah.
But somehow it always lingers. And it's, to me, the perfect example of the attention to detail because, man, they keep that thing. That thing, still looks impressive.
Yeah, they keep that upgrade, they keep it pristine.
Yeah.
Everything's always working.
Yeah.
Nothing breaks on that, and when it does, they fix it immediately.
Yeah. It looks really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I love the shooting gallery. It's one of my favorite things there. But maybe my favorite thing, one of my top favorite things in all of Disneyland is the rivers of America, which constitutes Frontierland. I'm always with the Mark Twain. I'm always like, is that a New Orleans Square thing?
It borders 3 lands, so I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, the rivers of America, nothing I love more than that. Going on the Mark Twain, quiet boat ride around. That's going to open up again soon too.
Yep.
And now I'm curious, are you nervous about that? Because that's always been one of my favorite things, and they have shortened it.
They've shortened it a bit, so hopefully, I don't know. I won't know until I ride it.
Yeah.
It scares me that they shortened it a bunch, but I can't tell you.
Yeah, it's only scary because it's one of the most relaxing things in Disneyland. When there's lots of crowds, you go on that, and it's like you go on a voyage away from the crowds. Once you go around the river, to the back of the river, it's like you can't even hear people anymore. And I love that, and I'm worried, with it being shorter, if they'll lose that.
You used to get farther away, and now you don't.
Yeah. So I don't really know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
But I think what could be cool is that they're enhancing it a lot, because back in the day, Rivers of America had a lot of waterfalls and stuff that we don't have anymore. But in this new update, they're adding it back.
Yeah.
So that could end up being cool.
Yeah.
It might have a scenic upgrade that could add a lot to it. But I don't know. I'm worried. I'm still kind of worried. It's one of my favorite things. I love the Big Twain, the Mark Twain, not the Big Twain. Big Twain, yo, that's what they call me. What up?
Little Twain.
It's me, Little Twain. What up? Anyway, but now one thing that was cool. I don't think I told you this, but so last week went to D23. Last week, the week before, whatever. Went to the D23, the Disney Expo in Anaheim, and they had a whole pavilion on the show floor that was Disney archives, and they had a bunch of pirates. It was all pirates themed this year, and there was a woman who worked there that came out, and it's gonna kill me. I think her name was Amira or something. I hope I didn't get that right. If you're seeing this, I apologize, but she is working, she's doing stuff with the archives. I don't know if she's full-time or what. She was doing stuff, she was helping out, I think volunteering for the archives.
Okay.
And I was dressed as a character from Spaceship Earth, the Epcot ride. I was dressed as a monk, and she recognized it, and I talked to her, and she mentioned, I'm volunteering for the archives, but I'm doing some stuff in Disneyland. I'm doing some art. And I was like, oh, what art are you doing? And she said, for the new Rivers of America, she painted the rocks. I was like, really? And she's like, in the new Rivers of America, when you see a beaver animatronic, The rock it's sitting on, I painted that rock. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So
there's already some stuff leaking out about that. That was like one of the first things leaked out is this beaver animatronic. Everybody's flipping out. It's
it looks like, from what it looks like there's a beaver like gnawing through the bridge or something like that. Anyway, so I guess she painted that rock. So shout out if your name's Amira. Shout out if your name's not Amira. That sucks, but you did a good job. There's the train again. Anyway. But yeah, hopefully that all turns out really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Mark Twain, one of my favorite things there. Again, just a slow boat ride. I think it's really good. I like the Mark Twain a lot more than riding on the Columbia.
They shoot cannons on the Columbia.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I like the Columbia, but it's not this nice scenic, like nice trip down the river as it is. It's more about like. Just piratey stuff.
Yeah,
I don't. Not as into it.
Yeah,
the music's like it's so nice on the Mark Twain and.
Yeah, and the Mark Twain. Well, the Mark Twain has my favorite thing, which is the narration where he sings on the river. And
hopefully, it's still there.
Yeah, hopefully it's still there. But where he's all like Mark Twain, oh sure, you got like the singing. And on the Columbia, it's just kind of like. Cannon fire, it's exactly. I pretty much repeated what you said, but anyway, so not as into that. Now, have you done the canoes?
I have. It's been a long time, but I've done the canoes.
Recently, were you a kid or what?
Probably 5 or 6 years ago.
And how was that experience?
It's fine. It was cool being on the river at that level, and just not being on a track, just going around it yourself, not yourself, but like.
You went alone?
No. I just remember that a kid behind me couldn't get the timing right, so I just kept bumping my oar. You're supposed to. You're supposed to get. They time you like they have a thing where to teach you how to do it in time. And this kid just kept bumping into me.
Yeah, it was just not panning out.
Yeah.
I went on it one time ever, only a few years ago, and. We were paddling, and I don't know if it was a new guy or what, but he could not get us in sync at all. And then we finally were, and we started careening towards the spinning back rotor of the Mark Twain, like the big spinning blades behind it or whatever. I don't know what you call that.
I don't know either,
but we started heading straight into that, and everyone in the boat was going, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. It was like the scene in... Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I mean, we were going into the boats to where I was joking around with someone. I was actually going, my soul is prepared to die. How's yours? I was like quoting it, which was funny for about 2 seconds until you realize, no, we're really close to these spinning things. Yeah. Anyway, so we got out of that. The guy was joking around the whole journey with the canoes, and then he stopped joking around. He was like, okay, no, everyone, let me take control. Okay, and then we got out of that. And then we got really close to rocks on the other side, and then we made it back to the dock, and someone was waiting there to talk to him. So I don't know.
You got in trouble. Or fired.
I don't know if that guy's still at the park.
I heard it does it safety-wise. I heard it's pretty easy to get fired here if you go do anything dangerous.
I remember hearing something about I think there's people who have worked in Fantasyland who. Yeah. I remember hearing a story about someone opened the wrong door, they escorted people out of Mr. Toad, and we'll just go through this exit, and they actually led them into the Alice in Wonderland ride onto a moving track.
Yeah, it's the same building; they're just different levels on the side.
Yeah, and they were immediately fired. You sent people onto another track, you're fired. Yeah, that's it.
That's instant.
They don't take any risks with that. But anyway, so the canoes was a fun experience. I don't know if I need to do it again, but it was fun.
I'll do it again with the new river.
Yeah, that would
definitely
be
do it again.
You do get to see stuff on a different perspective. Yeah, you're low to the ground and right near it. Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
No, they just take a picture of you.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm doing the same thing. All right, take it easy. I don't know what that was about. She saw my picture at the post office on the wall. Anyway.
Canoes.
Yeah, canoes. Yeah. So, you do see stuff from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Which is fun sometimes, I remember on Main Street, you'd see the vehicles going around, and it's like, why do you take a vehicle on Main Street? I'll just walk around Main Street.
because you're way high up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I then I went on the omnibus and I went on the top floor, and you see all the Main Street windows from a different perspective, and it's like it's cool seeing it at a different level, you know. So it's kind of like that with the canoes. But anyway, now Tom Sawyer Island.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, loved Disneyland, you know, pretty much my whole life. It's not like I went there all the time as a kid, but I liked it. But I never went to Tom Sawyer Island as a kid. I don't have a strong connection to it.
Loved it.
You got plenty to say about that. What's your experience?
I've gone as a kid. I've gone as an adult.
Yeah.
I love it because when I was a kid, it was just like, who doesn't want to explore and find pirate treasure in a cave?
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Here's an island. You can just go on it. There's tree houses. There's rope bridges.
Yeah.
There's caves. Who knows what's in the cave? I don't know.
Yeah.
Go find out. And that stuff, I ate that stuff up as a kid. So I would love every single time I come to Disneyland, I'd go on there.
It seems like that's a valuable piece of like exploration.
Yeah.
You know, which is important because any theme park can have a ride, you know, or a ride that goes real fast. But like to have details you can explore.
No
like
ride
that.
whatsoever over there. All it is pure exploration.
So what were your favorite parts like as a kid? Like what did you like doing?
Favorite parts were the parts that were so dangerous they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, yeah. What happened with that?
A thing called a teetering rock, and basically it was a seesaw, but it was a rock that you could wobble back and forth. That's out of there.
Oh, is it? It's really? Oh, yeah.
And
when did that leave?
That stayed. I don't know exactly when it left, but that lasted longer than the Fort Wilderness back there. Fort Wilderness was in the back of the island. And basically it was this fort that had like gun turrets up above, and inside there was like almost like a museum where they had like mannequins, kind of like at Knott's Berry Farm. They had like mannequins set up, and you could go in there and they'd be like, this is like the general's office and stuff. And but they had gun turrets, and they were all on a thing. It was just a rifle, and you could pull the trigger and it would just make an electric gun sound, like and you could just point it at stuff. And those were up there for a while until a girl lost her finger by getting it stuck in the trigger as she like fell or jumped off something. And I believe she lost her finger or did something major damage to her finger. And
I think you're right.
They ripped those guns out, and then slowly they didn't let the kids up there. Yeah. And now Fort Wilderness is still there. It's just boarded up. Yeah,
it's funny. It's still there even after the renovation.
It survived them shortening the river. Yeah. Still. And
I don't know how that survived.
I have no idea either. I heard that they use that for Fantasmic in terms of like prepping room, and I think they have like dressing rooms or something. I don't know. Yeah. But that's all still there, and you can go up to it and look in, and it's still kind of set up the same way because it's still the same old Fort Wilderness that was there before. Right. But yeah. And recently they've added it. Like it used to be Tom Sawyer Island, and now it is Pirate's Lair on Tom Sawyer Island. Yeah. So
what do you think about that?
It's fine. They just added a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. They added like Davy Jones' heart and a chest are in there.
Oh, that's in there? And, I don't remember that.
That's in there, and there's a dude in the cave. It's pretty cool, but he's got like projected face. Oh. And he'll talk to you and stuff. The animatronics just way better. Yeah. And then there's another part where you touch gold, and this thing will pop up at it like. Hey,
yeah, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think it's like Rigetti or Pintel or something. Yeah. Like skeleton, and they yell at you and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That scared the hell out of me. So. But anyway, did you like, now what was it that was there? I'm trying to think of other stuff I remember from being over there.
Oh, Tom Sawyer Island? The treehouse I know is also boarded up.
Oh, yeah.
They just reopened it recently after all this, and everybody's like, oh, is that treehouse coming back? Nope. It looks nice now, but you cannot go in it anymore. Yeah. All the dangerous stuff they've pulled, which kind of sucks because, like, it was fun. Sometimes dangerous stuff is fun.
Yeah, I know, and I feel like if it's been around long enough, like, a couple bad things happened. But it was around 60 years. Like, a couple bad things are bound to happen. Yeah. You know, okay, whatever. I guess it's easy to say when it's not my kid. You know.
Plus, Disney will do safety stuff even if nobody's ever been hurt on it. Yeah. They go, that looks dangerous, and they'll board it up. They preempt anything. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They're very, very cautious about that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so Tom Sawyer Island, I know our friend Sean was really big on that too. That was like big. Yeah, like I said, I think that exploration stuff is kind of important. You know, I think every kid wants to feel like he found something. Yeah. You know, and that's what, and again, talking about Disneyland Paris, we'll talk about, if we do, you know, our little thing on that,
That park was the best at lots of hidden things around. Every
Yeah.
land would have hidden things that it felt like you discovered. So we'll talk about that later, but I think that's such a great thing to have.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that stuff was good. Okay, now, enough about that. We talked about that secret stuff. We talked about hidden things. We're going to talk about the most important stuff now. That's right. We're going to talk about food. Because the best secret of Frontierland, and some people know, the insiders know this, but not everybody else does. The creation of Doritos took place in the great land of Frontierland. One of my favorite facts about it was that they had the Casa de Fritos, which is a Fritos-themed restaurant over in, the lights just came on. Over in Frontierland. It had a couple places. It was over, but more toward along the river before, but then they moved it to where now is Rancho del Zocalo.
Yeah.
But it was Casa de Fritos. It was a Fritos-sponsored restaurant, and they had my favorite character there. They had a character named Frito the Kid, who would sit there and yell at you to eat Fritos.
Wasn't it a giant vending machine or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
basically. You'd go up, and I think you'd like pull his arm or something, and then...
That has to be somewhere.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
And he would say, 1 bag of Fritos, Klondike. And you'd hear some dude in a cave send down Fritos down a chute, and you'd hear him go, those chips of corn. Like, his voice was scary, like nightmare fuel. Anyway, Frito the Kid, shout out, great character. There needs to be more Frito the Kid cosplay out there. I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway, so... at this restaurant, they would have tacos, whatever. They had all these tortillas and fried shells. They were going to throw them all out in the dumpster. And then a guy was like, whoa, don't throw that all away. Bring them in, let's fry them up. And he fried them, and he crunched them up, and he broke them up and made tortilla chips out of them, which had, not been done before.
No.
That was, not done. You never, no one thought to do that.
Yeah.
So he broke them up and he made them like tortilla chips. And they were such a hit with customers that the Frito... this was just like a cook or a whoever.
Yeah, just like some guy who wanted to save money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he worked there and did it. The Frito-Lay people came in and were like, hey, these are a hit with everyone. We're going to give us all the machines and all the equipment that you use to make these little chips. We're going to take that. And they called them Doritos.
Yeah.
And they sold beautifully. Are you a Doritos guy?
I like Doritos, yeah.
Yeah,
I like
Doritos
a
are
lot.
good. All right, what kind are the best?
Nacho cheese.
Nacho
That's
cheese.
it.
Remember they were nacho cheesier for a while.
They were. I forgot about that.
Are you a Cool Ranch guy or not?
I like all Doritos, really, pretty much. But I go with the nacho ones.
Doritos, it's weird. Doritos are not my go-to snack. But, I don't think to get them. Mm-hmm. But, man, when they're just around, it's like, oh, I forgot about Doritos. Oh. Anyway. Created.
Well, thank you, Walt.
Thank you, Walt.
He also cracked open a Mountain Dew.
Yep.
And went, hey, these go together.
He put them together, swirled them in his mouth, swallowed, and then he said, I want a child. And he impregnated his wife. That was Jeff Keighley. That was his child, was Jeff Keighley. I probably cut that part out too. Love you, Jeff. That was just a joke. Anyway. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, now you know the story, Frito the Kid and all that stuff. What haven't we talked about in Frontierland? Of course, we've got a lot of new stuff on the way, of course.
Yeah. Open it up anytime now. We've shown you, it's going around.
Yeah. So. My favorite stuff in like I said, in Disneyland was going around on the train. I love going around on the train. It is so nice on a hot day or just whatever. Hey, I don't want to deal with the rides right now. I'm just going to take a ride on the train. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things. There's a train, there's trains at other parks, like Knott's has one, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's just rinky-dink goes around. But this one, goes around the whole park and all that stuff. Yeah. It's great. So anyway.
It's awesome.
It'll be open by the time, soon after this comes out. But anyway, anything else you can think of? I mean, from Frontierland?
I'm trying to think. What else? We talked about the shooting gallery. Golden Horseshoe.
Yeah, Golden Horseshoe.
Wait, that's a major part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely major part.
That's one of the original areas in the park left over.
Golden Horseshoe, if you know, I'm sure you know. If you're watching this, you know probably what it is. But the infamous restaurant in Frontierland, that classic restaurant, opening day, like you said, thing, and it's set up the same way that it used to be. In fact, there's even little balcony tables to the side of the stage, and that was like Walt's favorite seat.
Yeah, that was his spot. And you can still sit there. Like, you request it, and they'll go,
they'll let you sit there.
Yeah.
So they have shows in there. Do you go in there very often?
I haven't in a while.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy it. I like going in there. I never really get food in there anymore because all the food I want to get is on the outside.
Yeah.
Stagecoach.
They got
side.
the good corn dogs out there.
Yeah, they're really good corn dogs.
Yeah.
But I do go in there sometimes just if it's hot and it's just nice.
Yeah, they keep it chilly in there. But I was going to say, the shows they put on in there are fun. You know, whatever. They're fun. They're family stuff. Okay, whatever. But what was the best was, for a limited time in like 2013.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
They did for a limited time, they ran the original show that used to play in the Golden Horseshoe Theater.
Yeah.
And it was the Golden Horseshoe Review. And they brought it back for a limited time. And when you saw it, you realized why it was a limited time thing. It was really elaborate and kind of racy a little bit, wasn't it?
Which was good. I liked it. I liked that stuff was still, like, they were still willing to put that in there.
Yeah.
Because like back then, that was fine back then.
Yeah.
But
it was another example of like stuff that would never fly today. And basically, it was hosted by a woman named Slewfoot Sue, who was this showgirl, and and it was like can dance. You know, she had dancers with her, and they were all like kicking and stuff. But then she would get into the audience and like hit on all the guys, basically. Like she would, like, be like, putting her boa around them and stuff like that. But I remember there was one part in particular where she went over to like this 80-year-old dude and like sat down and like, "Hey, how's it going, mister? Oh, is that your wife?" And then she like brushed her aside, like, "How you doing?" And then she sat in his lap and then immediately sprang up and went, "Hey there, this isn't Fantasyland, that's over there," and then walked away. And I was like, this won't last long.
No.
This
and it was gone. It was limited time anyway, but like the shows they have in there now aren't that great.
They're okay.
They're cute, they're fun.
Yeah, but they're not the same.
But they're not that. Like, that was really, really entertaining to watch.
Yeah,
and it was a packed house.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. I've heard that behind the scenes, they want to bring that back because it packed the house.
Yeah.
I mean, there were lines out the door every day, and they want to bring it back, but they got like one too many complaints at City Hall. That's what I've heard, is that like it was one too many angry moms.
There's too many kids at Disneyland.
Yeah, too many kids.
Like, have this be like just for adults.
We need to enforce the 21 and up limit at Disneyland. I think everyone's on the same page.
I agree.
But anyway, so that show was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise it's pretty good. The stuff they do in there normally is fine.
I was shocked at how long it took me to realize that the inside was shaped like a horseshoe. I would go in there all the time, and then like you have to look up, and it's already like an oval shape, but no, if you look at like the details, it's got like the little bits at the end of the horseshoe. It's like perfectly horseshoe shaped with the added.
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's really cool.
Now you want to talk about your favorite band that no longer plays there?
Oh, I mix them up because they still play. Okay, so it was Billy Hill and the Hillbillies.
Yes.
And that show was pretty funny. I think the musical shows are funnier than the stage shows.
Well, describe like kind of what the act was. It was like
the act was
a bunch of hillbillies singing.
A bunch of hillbillies singing like violin stuff. They were all amazing.
Yeah, good musicians.
They get really, really good musicians to do this. But they play. It's a comedy musician show.
Yeah.
So they play a lot of stuff, and like they'll be doing this, and a bit will be like the violinist will. The I don't know, what do you call I forgot what that part of the violin is.
What do you call that?
I don't know. I don't know. The strings. But it goes into the nose of the person next to him. Like, you're not even watching, you just look, and he's just like, he's got it like halfway up his nose, stuff like that. But it was a great show. And after, I don't know what, 10,000, 15,000 shows or
Yeah, I
something
think like
that.
15,000 or something.
It was
yeah.
insane, like how many shows, because they do like 4 or 5 a day.
They played for like
every
how many
day.
years? Yeah, like almost 20?
Yeah, I remember seeing it when I was a kid. And then all of a sudden, Disney's like, okay, they're out. Like,
yeah, there must have been some kind of blowout.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem like an amicable split.
I don't know. And we're like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sure enough, not too long later, Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies playing in Knott's Berry Farm. And
Yeah.
they're still playing today.
Yep.
Like,
They play there, yeah,
I've
that's
been
right.
there a couple times and I haven't seen them, but I've seen the poster for it.
Yeah.
So I got to go check out Crazy Kirk.
I haven't seen them there either.
Yeah.
But I used to love Billy Hill and the Hillbillies.
Billy Hill and the Hillbillies
Yeah.
is great.
And we're not describing. You got to look them up on YouTube. Because
Yeah,
they're
there's
not,
1,000 videos.
all we described is a thing going up someone's
Yeah,
nose.
the whole thing is an awesome like comedy show. That's
Good-
like what
good
15 minutes. Yeah, good physical
Hillbilly music and physical comedy, and it's a little cheesy, but that's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Frontierland at
It's
Disneyland. It was
all
perfect.
of them are pretty cheesy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but that's
it's good. I like
yeah.
the musical ones more.
Yeah, I totally agree. So anyway, so I have to check them out at some point.
At some point.
I wonder what happened with that. That's still a little weird that went down.
But Crazy Kirk.
Crazy Kirk.
Okay, they couldn't think of another name.
Now, next they're going to go to Magic Mountain and be Psycho Mike. Well, that's already somebody. Whatever. Psycho Mike and the Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Psycho Steve. Anyway, speaking of entertainment in Frontierland, I do want to say, did you ever partake or were you ever privy to the thing they were doing a couple years ago called Legends of Frontierland?
I heard about it, but I never took part in it.
But you know what it was all about? So it was like a type of, like a scavenger hunt. There would be like cowboys walking around and they would go to you and like, hey, help me find this thing from Dirty Steve, or I don't know, is that a cowboy name?
I don't know. Stinky Steve.
Dirty Steve. It's like the worst. I should not write a Western ever. But they would ask you to retrieve stuff for them. Mm-hmm. And send you, and then you go to the other side of Frontierland, and there'd be, Dirty Steve or whoever, and he's like, don't listen to what the sheriff told you. Take this, and you'd go back and forth and do all this stuff. And what I've heard is that was a test. They're not doing it anymore, but what I've heard is it was a test for Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
How to get ready for that, right? Have you heard about that?
I have heard about that. That they tried. Didn't they do that somewhere else too, or something like that?
They did an Adventureland one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just all tests for the Star Wars in integrated world of Star Wars, having all that stuff.
Yeah, because everything they're saying about the new Star Wars Land is that it's going to be like an RPG. Mm. You go in and bounty hunters are coming up to you like, hey, hang on to this. If anybody from the Empire asks, you don't have it. And like stuff like that, you know, which I'm curious how that will go, because that's either going to be the most incredible thing or it's going to be annoying and over in 2 days. Yeah. Do you think? What do you think about that?
If it doesn't work out, then they can easily just, okay, we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there's 1,000 things that they had a bunch of that kind of stuff and that they don't do anymore.
Totally.
Like, it's kind of a shitty example, but Toontown.
Yeah.
Toontown had characters walking around. It had a trolley going through it and everything, and none of that stuff, panned out. And they just, trolley doesn't go. No characters in the park.
Which I think is actually kind of a shame. I think the trolley was kind of cool.
Yeah, the trolley was cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think that they'll try it out for a while.
Yeah.
Who knows if it'll stay? But if it stays, cool.
Yeah, I'm very curious how that will all play out. But it's interesting how they'll take something old like Frontierland and use that as a testing ground for the next state of the art thing. Yeah. So I guess with that, I mean, that's kind of like, unless you could think of anything else, it's kind of a good place to end on. The bridge to Star Wars Land.
Yeah. We never talked to, it is a good ending, but I'll say real quick, what used to be here was my favorite restaurant. In maybe other than Blue Bayou.
Oh, yeah.
This was my favorite restaurant. It's actually, the entrance was right here where it's blocked off.
Literally right here.
Yeah. This was the old entrance to the Big Thunder Ranch Barbecue.
Yep.
It was all-you-can-eat barbecue, and I loved the theming. They would play country songs on a stage, and it was just all you can eat. They keep bringing you cornbread, ribs, sausage, everything. It was great.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I didn't think of that, because that was something I discovered really late in the game.
Yeah.
I started going to that place, honestly, not long before they took it out. I mean, it was only a year before. It was like, wow, hey, this ranch is pretty cool. and I really liked it. And yeah, and then it was like, yep, that's as you're eating there. I remember hearing rumors of like, I think they're bulldozing this. I think it's going away.
That was one of my favorite places.
But I'm torn. It sucks because I think that restaurant, that ranch was one of the again, it was all you can eat and it was great, and I think it's one of the best they've ever had. But I think the thing is like it had this whole ranch attached to it.
Yeah,
and that was a waste of space.
Didn't care about the ranch. It had a petting zoo with goats and some other stuff. I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
Because it was attached and it was further down that way.
Yeah.
But I never did that. I did that once, I think.
Yeah.
But I loved going to the barbecue.
Yeah, the barbecue place was amazing. It just sucks that it had all that other stuff attached to it.
Yeah.
Because that was on the chopping block fast.
I think if it didn't have that stuff stuck to it, it would be like, oh, maybe we should keep it.
It might have squeezed by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone.
So that was a real shame. But I mean, I knew it was coming.
It doesn't matter. I'll live.
The saddest thing, the one thing that was kind of heartbreaking about it, I think, the most was that I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. It's great, but it's its own thing, and that's cool. I think Star Wars Land is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But there's something kind of, this is going to sound sappy, there's something kind of sweethearted about the Old West and Frontierland. It's kind of something sweethearted about Disneyland itself. And I think you kind of lose something to tear that out and put up Star Wars, dun, 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 dun. I love Star Wars, but there's something sweet about the old-fashioned Old West kind of, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
I've always liked that.
There's a romanticism about it, kind of.
It's just nice.
Yeah.
I just like it. Everything's lit with flickery lights.
Yeah.
And you're eating off picnic tables.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's nice music going on.
Yep.
Not like it's just somebody on stage with a guitar having fun, singing for kids and stuff. It's just nice and relaxing.
Yeah. And it's just something that you don't get in a lot of other entertainment. No other family entertainment today has just the Old West or a cowboy singing Happy Trails.
I was just gonna say, didn't he end the last thing of the night before they were gonna start bulldozing the next day?
Yeah, the last show they ever did there, because they would play as you would eat, and they brought all the staff. They brought the whole staff on stage, and they sang, "All right, everybody, we're gonna say goodbye," and they brought all of them, including the guy. There was an old guy who would play a cowboy that was always there. And he would go table to table and sing. They brought him on stage, they brought everybody, and they all sang, "You Got a Friend in Me" from Star Wars, from Toy Story. And they sang that to everybody, "You Got a Friend in Me," and it was really cool. And then everyone's like, yeah, they all clapped like it was over. And then they left the stage and they said, no, let him have the last song. And it was the old cowboy guy. They let him take the stage by himself, and he sang "Happy Trails to You. Until we meet again." Yeah. That made me choke up so bad.
No, and now it's gone.
That just this old cowboy singing a song about his home he was about to lose. Oh. Yeah. Even just thinking about it now, I'm like, oh man, I love Star Wars, but man,
but it took a little bit because Star Wars didn't really demolish a lot of stuff.
No.
But the things they did, it's like.
That ranch has been on the chopping block for 30 years. Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't, but still.
It was just nice. This nice little corner. Yeah. Because now it's empty. Now this whole corridor is an entrance to Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
There's nothing here anymore.
Although they did do a nice job of this new walkway down here.
And I will say that there's a lantern on that rock right over there.
Yeah.
And just right on the tip of that rock, and it has the Big Thunder Ranch Barbecue logo imprinted on it. Yeah. That's a little nod to what used to be here.
Yeah, of course. Of course, it will not focus.
Whatever.
You can just imagine that lantern. You can imagine that lantern for yourself because it's not going to focus. But anyway, now I will say, the nice thing though, I will say, is that they redid this whole walkway. They redid it all. But a piece of that ride that I never got to go on, a piece of Frontierland history.
Yeah.
Did survive.
Yeah. I was afraid of this.
My favorite, number one favorite quiet spot in all of Disneyland is the little lake at the beginning of the Frontierland Trail.
Yep.
And still surviving from when that nature trail ride was there 60 years ago. There are little jumping animatronic fish in the pond. They're still going. After all these years, they're still bloop, bloop, jumping out. If you wait there for a minute, you'll eventually see one. And I love that's my favorite detail.
Yeah, it's awesome. There used to be bears and stuff and a trestle going over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the train used to go over that lake. All of that has been destroyed. The trestle's gone, the bridge is gone, everything.
The fish remain.
The fish still linger.
Yeah.
And that is still to date like my favorite little quiet spot in all of Disneyland. So one of these days you got to go by that spot and watch the fish jump. You'll be happy you did. Anyway, I think that's it. Is there anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
I think that's a great place to end. Is that, you know, things change, the fish stay the same. I think that should be the title of this episode.
Okay. I think so too.
Anyway, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of Creepy Old Crypt. Had to think about what the show was. But anyway, we're going to send you back into the cave. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. It's now nightfall. You've had a long day's work in the cabin. Oh, wait, hold on. We can't end this episode. Do you remember the burning cabin on the river?
Oh, yeah. That was burning for a while when I was a kid, and then they turned it into, like, Mike Fink's cabin.
Yeah. But for a while, it was a cabin on fire, like Indians attacked it.
Indians attacked it, and that's not, like, they had to remove that and just make it a regular cabin because Indians, like, destroying cabin stuff wasn't as PC anymore.
I've heard that, but I've also heard they were burning gas all day long.
Oh, that could be it.
And it was extremely bad for the environment. Yeah. But I love the Indian Village as it is now. You know.
Oh, yeah. I love that Indian Village area.
And it's supposed to come back, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no way they're going to lose that. That Indian Village is great.
Yeah, I think they're just moving it. Anyway, okay, now back to the ending. Cool. All right. It's been a long day. You've just left Nature's Wonderland. You've got your cart full of supplies for the winter, even though it's summer. And you're going to retreat back to your time period. You enter the cave with nothing but your pickaxe and your wits and a shovel and a rope. Something just hit me. It was a leaf or something. And you send yourself back into the cave until you find it. And it is cliffhanger.